I like Kyrie points. I'm going to go back to the well, over 23.5, but I'm going to play the Thunder in this game.
Same.
I feel like everybody's going to be on the Mavs after what they just saw, but I think this is going to be a good bounce-back spot for OKC. Tough defensively, young playoff team. I mean, they weren't going to sweep this series. I think this series comes at least 6.
Yeah, and if you look at what the Thunder have done throughout the course of this series and the course of the playoffs in general, they've just been holding teams below 100 pretty much every single time. And I think the Mavericks just really got hot, right? I mean, they allow 119 points to the Mavericks. That's like 30 points higher than the game before.
Yeah.
So you talk about what the Thunder did. They just have to be tighter on their rotations. They have to be more on a string. And I think they will be. I think Mark Daigneault's going to go back and show them film and say, listen, like, we can't allow P.J. Washington to just have open corner threes all day long. We just need to be better rotating. And I think they will. So, yeah, I like the Thunder as well against the spread.
I like the Thunder. Kyrie's points went from 24.5 game 1, 23.5 game 2, now down to 22.5. That's when I roll right there. Lucas points, 30.5. Just wait.
Yeah.
Get it down to 16.5
totally.
again. I don't mind that. What do you think about Chet? Like, points-wise, scoring the basketball. I don't really love this series for him. Love the block shots and maybe even the rebounds, but I'm probably going back to the under, 15.5, minus 125 here. I think it's going to be a big game for Shea. I see a lot of people taking his unders, and that's why I probably went from 30 to 29.5. I'd go over on Shea, though. I think he's going to cook.
Yeah, I mean, why would they feel like they want to take his unders? He had 33 points in 41 minutes. He had 12 rebounds.
First road game, I guess.
I like his PRA. That's what I like.
Shea's?
What are we getting there?
Combos. Let me pull that up real quick. 42.5, minus 125 to the under, minus 105 to the over.
I like the over. If you look at what Shea's done, he had 33, 12, and 8. Just ridiculous stuff.
Yeah,
That's
I'd rather
53.
go over there, too.
Yeah, 53. Also, you could look at his like steals and blocks. He's had at least 2 steals and blocks in every single game in the playoffs. Ever since, except for I think one game, actually, game 1 against the Pelicans. But game 2 against the Pelicans, he had 2 steals. Game 3 against the Pelicans, 4 steals, 1 block. Game 5, he had 2 blocks. Then against the Mavs, 1 steal, 2 blocks. And then against the Mavericks in game 2, 1 steal, 2 blocks. So he's just a defensive beast, dude.
And if I like the Thunder, they're going to need a big game from him.
Yeah, I agree.
But do you think that makes like home court this year in the WNBA mean less, or maybe there's an extra benefit betting the road teams? Because for the next 2 seasons, like you said, the WNBA is going to begin traveling to away games on these chartered flights, and since the league's inception, like 3 decades ago, nearly 30 years ago, it's been a different case. So do you think that means less for home court advantage?
It's interesting, right? Because Connecticut is one of the toughest places to get to around the league. There's 12 teams in Connecticut. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to Mohegan Sun. It's in the middle of nowhere. Now, like Alyssa Thomas, Tawana Bonner, they're an engaged couple. That's a public thing now. They've been a couple. They like their privacy. They like their time away. They like Mystic, Connecticut with the beaches. They like East Lyme, beautiful little town in Connecticut right by the water. It's a good question, though, because I think the impact that Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are going to have is now these teams are moving their home games. When Clark is on the road with Indiana and when Reese is on the road with Chicago, they're moving their games to bigger arenas. Yeah. So now you're asking, it's not just the home fans that are attending, it's visiting fans of these players when they were in college, because that's how, and just, I think just natural casual basketball fans or fans that got into the game these last couple of years, the college game, now they're coming out to the arena. So now, I'll just give an example, like the Vegas Aces play at Michelob Ultra at Mandalay Bay. Now they're going to play, when Caitlin Clark comes to town, they're going to play over at the T-Mobile Arena where the Golden Knights play. So no question, there's just going to be more people and more casual fans going to games. I don't know about Connecticut, though, because I still think Connecticut's got a special, its own spot compared to the rest of the league from a nationwide standpoint.
What do you think in terms of a team no one's talking about that may be better than we think, whether that's just betting them against the spread as underdogs, maybe thinking about taking the over on their season-long win total, or maybe even just a player that's kind of being undervalued that maybe we want to look at her props?
Yeah, I think the Seattle Storm had a low-key great offseason by bringing in their own big three with Nneka Ogwumike, who has a very high role in the Players Association. Jewel Lloyd led the league in scoring, was an absolute dog when she played at Notre Dame, led the league in scoring last year. And then you add Skylar Diggins-Smith, who was out of the league last year, going through some things off the court. Now you bring in two players that in Jewel Lloyd and Skylar Diggins-Smith that played together at Notre Dame. They've already had chemistry playing together in their previous ties at the college level. Seattle comes to mind. I like what Phoenix did in the offseason, as much as Taurasi got headlines for what she was saying and kind of smack talking. Natasha Cloud won a championship when she was in Washington. Kalia Copper was a finals MVP just a couple years ago. They're a little, they feel a little underdogish being counted out. And then the other team, I think, would be the Dallas Wings. They brought back almost their entire team. Arike is a lethal scorer, had her best year as a facilitator, led her career best in assists at 4.5 a game. Satu Sabali is a budding star.
Go Ducks.
So those three teams out west, and Dallas last year gave Vegas some fits during the regular season. So those are some teams that come to mind. And as crazy as it sounds, I feel like last year's attention in the league was about New York and Vegas, super team against super team. And now I think folks are forgetting. Vegas has had their shine. No doubt they just visited the White House this week. But don't forget, New York has it's year 2 with that core 4 and Benijah Laney. So Stewie, Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Ionescu, Courtney Vandersloot, they bring that whole team back, and they just had kind of their feeling out year, and they went to a finals. That New York team last year reminded me a lot of what LeBron, Wade, and Bosch went through. New super team, they're the next big thing, and then you kind of get smacked in the face when you went to the finals against a juggernaut like Vegas. New York's got a chip on their shoulder and had some time together last year that should help them this year.
The other reason I was thinking about you is because my kid's into hockey now, so I have him watching Happy Gilmore. And you know the scene where he's like, you were right, I was wrong, I'm dumb, you're smart, you're very good looking, I'm not so good looking. That's what I was thinking, because you loved the Jordan Love pick. Team Aaron Rodgers, I hated it because Rodgers was under contract for 4 more years. But the other guy I think that could win an MVP is Jordan Love. How do you feel about him after especially the last 8 weeks of the season, what he did in the playoffs against Dallas? Threw a couple picks against San Francisco, but still looked really good. Where are you at with the Packers and Jordan Love this year? Because you were right.
You know I'm still going to be the conductor of that train, man. I ain't getting off this train anytime soon.
The literal love train.
Jordan Love, exactly. He always had the stuff that you can't coach. He always was mentally tough. You talk to people close to Jordan Love. This is somebody who lost his father in just absolute tragic fashion as a teenager. I can't imagine what he went through. You talk about athleticism, his arm talent, surviving in a chaotic pocket. There's just so much to his mental psyche and his physical game that you can't coach. So even when he was struggling in training camps early, even when he looked terrible against the Chiefs, I feel like it was fixable. You can work on fundamentals. You can teach a quarterback how to read the field quicker. And I think they turned that corner in the middle of November. The Chargers game comes to mind. Absolutely. The Lions game on Thanksgiving comes to mind. And he really hit a stride. I know it ended ugly, really bad Favrean throw to end the season, and you never get those opportunities back. Who knows if they can get to that close to being a Super Bowl team, but they're so dang young. All the receivers were first and second year guys last year. They're coming back. They're only going to be better. The offensive line is going to be better. I give Brian Gutekunst credit for making the necessary pick in the first round, just bolstering that unit. The defense has a new coordinator. They weren't that good last year for stretches. So I get it. It's easy to talk yourself into any team and any quarterback this time of year. But whether it's Allen in Buffalo and throwing more on his shoulders, and definitely Love in Green Bay, I think those are two quarterbacks you can safe to say are going to take another step and be right in that conversation.